But if you start drinking the whole anxiety and then trying to chug down a bottle of anxiety, you're going to have a bad hangover. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So how's everybody doing? Today we're going to talk about emotional addictions. And we're going to make some deep connections. If you guys are stuck in anything in your life, you don't even know what's about to happen to you. There's been a shift in me since my video last week. So I posted a video about how I was addicted to guilt and shame. About a little over a week. Hi, Boho. And my life, I worked on this about 3 or 4 years ago. The first time that I really got into it deep onto reprogram your mind. And I started reprogramming my mind. And then, I went off and on and off and on. But there was this core thing that I was still feeling, like a core belief. And yeah, so the video that I posted was how if you're addicted to any emotion. Now, the video, what I'm about to tell you guys is so deep, but I'm going to do my Tanya visualization, okay? So it's very similar to the Dr. Joe Dispenza Reprogram Your Mind. I have things all over my YouTube page, stop, validate, change. So Joe Dispenza says stop, change. Like if you have a thought, you do stop, change, stop, change. But I found that there was this self-care validation missing, but I do something a little different. So over the last few years, I've kind of perfected it for me. It doesn't mean it's for everybody, but it's for me, okay? This is how I see emotional addictions, all right? I want you to think of now something that you've been thinking about for a long time, like a situation. So first think about the situation, okay? Analyze the situation. What did you feel? What did you feel? Did you get upset at something? Are you going through a breakup? Are you feeling like nobody cares? It's all your fault. Or everybody's stupid. Nobody understands you. If you want, give me some examples, like a deep feeling that you're like, a thought that keeps coming up. Because every thought creates an emotion. So if you have these thoughts that keep coming up, and I'll give you an example. For me, my thought before was like, I wrote a book. Where's my book? I don't have it with me. Oh, there it is. Okay. How to Own Your Shit. I wrote it. I published it in June, July, August, September, October, November, and now beginning December. I didn't get paid. And it hit bestseller in a week. It hit bestseller in a couple of days. And I did not get paid. I did not get paid. And another company wasn't paying me. And then Google was like, oh, we're not accepting your payment. And all these things were happening. And I was like, what the? So I'm like, of course this is going to happen. Like my thought was, yeah, sure. Of course this is going to happen because this is what happens to me all the time. There's always some shit. That was a thought, like my thought of saying, yeah, there's always some shit. So it was the same thought that I've had because I used to say that to myself every time I would get sick. Like when I had kidney failure and I was going through all this stuff, I would get healthy and then something would happen. And I was like, oh, of course I'm going to get sick again. This is what it is. There's always something. Like every time it was a reoccurring thought that I kept repeating. So I don't know if some of you guys have the reoccurring thoughts that you just over and over. So my reoccurring thought was that. I didn't realize that because I was working more on reoccurring thoughts of every day. Those thoughts only came on the hard times. Stressing a lot about being broke makes me feel useless. Okay, so stressing about being broke, you're like, oh, well, I have no purpose. I'm useless. What's the point? Those feelings. I'm going to be alone forever. Oh my God, that used to be my thought all the time. I'm just going to be alone forever. Whatever. I'm going to have 100 cats and be alone forever. But so that's the thought you have, right? So what emotion does that thought create? So I'm going to be alone forever makes you feel unlovable. You're just unlovable. Like that's the feeling you have. Or maybe you feel lonely. Or maybe you feel like you're not enough. What is that? Angry? So there's an emotion. What does it make you feel? It makes you feel angry. Let's dive deeper. More than anger. When you get angry, what are you feeling through the anger? Are you feeling angry because you're hopeless? Angry? I want you guys to like peel like an onion. You just keep peeling and peeling at it. Not good enough. Not good enough is a very common one. Not enough, not good enough, always at fault. Whatever you're feeling, hopeless is a very common one. So you take that and you keep peeling and peeling all that stuff. When you get to the core emotion, which is like not enough, which is guilt, shame. I feel guilt, stuff in my stomach. Okay, guilt. Those feelings that you're sitting with is an addiction. If they are some things that it's not what you're saying is an addiction. Like, oh, I'm going to be alone forever. Oh, there you go again. My life is shit. Or I got dumped from a 4-year relationship. I felt empty. Okay, there it is. I feel empty. Go deeper in the empty. What do you feel more than empty? Do you feel like, it's hard, guys. It's not easy and just be like, okay, go fast. So you have these layers that you're peeling out. When you finally get, so you guys can do this. You can grab a book. I have a book here because I wanted to show you something. Grab any book that you have. Hi, Angelica. Just keep going, like writing down. Say, okay, what is the situation? Write the situation of what's happening. Then you write, okay, what are my thoughts about the situation? Okay. Betrayed. Go a little deeper, Mark. So you're like, that's a thought. You're like, I feel betrayed. Why do you feel betrayed? Like, if you can keep going. Hi, Francesco. You're a badass, Francesco. So keep going deeper and deeper into what you feel, the core issue. The reason you're going to know. You're going to know that feeling that you have at the core, like not good enough, guilty, shameful, to blame, like unlovable, all those deep feelings, those are so deep inside that when you discover it, you're like, oh shit, that's my real true feeling. Now here's where the healing happens. Every feeling that you keep having over and over and over again, those are the ones, the reason that you're addicted to it, because they keep happening over and over, is because you connect them somehow to love. In a weird, twisted way, this is connected to love. And when you do a little, and we're going to do this together, we're going to do a little lineage of how this relates to love. So write down what's happening in your life. Then you write down the thoughts that you have. So the event, then you write down the thoughts that you keep having over and over. Then you write an emotion that you think it is. It's usually not that one. It's usually not the first emotion. You're like, like betrayed. I feel betrayed. Why do you feel betrayed? Why is it something that you feel over and over? I'm always betrayed. Thank you, Francesco. Like, why do I always feel betrayed? Why is something always wrong? Why does that feeling keep coming up? I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. When you see this feeling, you have to connect it to love. So I'll give you an example. If you're feeling guilt, now it's going to be upside down that you guys are going to see my, okay? So I have guilt here, okay? So you have to find out how guilt somehow is connected to love, okay? Guilt, and I had, my video was about guilt and shame, okay? So shaming myself makes me feel guilty. So I thought that guilt was my main emotion. I'm like, guilt must be it. But if I went deeper, it went into shaming myself. So shaming myself was my main emotion, like being mean to myself. Because think about it. I was like, in the end, we're all shaming ourselves. If you are telling yourself, well, it's all my fault, or I'm unlovable, or I'm going to be alone forever. Imagine if you told me that. Imagine if I was single for a while and you come to see me and you're like, well, Tanya, you're going to be alone forever. Is that nice? That's not nice. You're shaming yourself. So people are like, it's not shaming, it's just whatever. No, it's shaming. It's not nice. Like, imagine you said, I feel unlovable. Everybody abandons me. I'm always alone. I'm always left alone. I guess I'm just meant to be alone. All those things that you're telling yourself is a form of shame. And if you are talking to yourself like this, there is a chance that you had a parent or a guardian that made you feel shameful a little bit about something, or guilt tripped you, made you feel guilty, or made you feel shameful, or made you feel like you were not enough. Someone who loved you very much made you feel the emotion that you're addicted to. So the emotion that you correlate with love will intertwine in your brain, just completely messes up, and is like, love means shame. Feeling like I'm always going to be alone, I'm not lovable. That maybe my parents made me feel like I wasn't lovable if I wasn't perfect. Like, if you are not the way perfect all the time, having the perfect way, perfect physical or emotionally perfect, or the way you act or what you say, if that is not perfect, then you're not lovable. Then go to your room. I don't want to deal with you. If the person that loved you also gave you that other thing, that could be why it's an addiction. Because for some odd reason, your brain's like, I want to be loved, because that's all what we want. We want love, and love equals this. So you have to find out what your addiction is. And the reason this is so important before you break it, because we're going to talk about how to break your emotional addiction, it's so important to find out why, because you cannot break an addiction if you don't acknowledge it. And this is how I'm going to explain it to you. Actually, here, I have a glass here. All right. This is my addiction. Think of it like a glass of alcohol. Okay, so if I'm addicted to alcohol, let's say I have a physical addiction. I'm addicted to alcohol. I take alcohol, I take a sip. If I'm an alcoholic, I'm addicted to it, I'm going to want the whole glass, I'm going to want the whole jar. Now think of this like your emotion that you're addicted to. I want you to imagine your emotion inside of it. Like for me, it was shame. I'm addicted to shaming myself. Some reason I'm addicted to feeling guilty and shaming myself. It's a go-to, because in my life, I did have a parent that made me guilt trip me a lot and just was really mean to me, but also loved me very, very much. So I correlate this is love. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel loved. Just like the alcohol, if I was addicted to alcohol, it would makes me feel better. In a weird, twisted way, this is poison. A lot of alcohol is poison. A lot of toxic emotions is poison. Now, if you have a sip, it doesn't hurt you. A little sip of alcohol is not really going to hurt you. A little sip of emotions, it's not really going to hurt you. If you say to yourself, you're like, oh, great, now, I'm going to be alone forever. Stop. You take your glass, put it down. If you say, I'm going to be alone forever, well, that's it. I'm just going to be, or I'm not enough. Or, this is just my life. I have a shit life. I'm going to end up alone. I'm going to end up, it's because I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. You are finishing your glass. And then if you finish your glass and then you take the bottle, the glass is about a couple of hours, an hour, let's say an hour. If you shame yourself for an hour, you're drinking a whole glass. Now you're going on 2 hours. How long have you been shaming yourself? How long have you been mean to yourself? Again, shaming yourself is saying to yourself what you wouldn't say to someone else. So are you drinking a bottle of your addiction? Are you downing it and just being like, I'm going to drink that? This is alcohol. I'm going to drink the whole thing. No, you take a sip and you say, stop. This is my addiction. I'm going to stop these thoughts. Because what happens when you drink a bottle of alcohol? You get very sick. You get delusional. You're all over. Like, imagine a whole bottle of drink. You're like, whew. If you start drinking your addictions, your emotional addictions, and you start taking a bottle of not enough, you start taking a bottle of you're unlovable, a bottle of shame and a bottle of, what did I say, guilt, and you start downing that, you feel like shit for days. For days. And then you're wondering why you're sitting with these feelings of like, why do I feel like this? Why is there's problems in your relationships, there's problems with your friendships, you don't feel like you're stuck, you're struggling because you have poison in your body. You have this like thing that's fermenting in your body. It's the same if you visualize it like alcohol. If you tell yourself after the sip, it's okay to have the sip, okay? And if this is an addiction, now if it's not an addiction and you drink it, you're like, oh, that's okay. That's fine. Like if you don't have an emotional addiction to something, you're not going to go on a spiral towards that. You're not, just like you can easily have a couple of sips of wine, little tiny glass of wine. You could put it down and be like, no, I'm good. I don't really need that much. It's not my addiction. I don't need it. It's something that I'm like, it's because you're addicted to it, it's because it's correlated somehow with love. So find out what your emotional addiction is and then realize that you can stop it. But here's the difference where I know Joe Dispenza, all those people, they say, stop, change. And I find that when you do that, the addiction keeps coming back. You can't just go, stop. I'm going to stop drinking alcohol and I'm going to start drinking water. Let's drink water instead. Really can't do that. So picture it like you can't just take a glass of alcohol and replace it with water. No, you need to tackle that. You need to find out what's going on there. So what you do is imagine you have this whole glass is filled with, not enough. I'm not enough. Something I'm not enough. Nobody cares about me. Nobody cares about me. Nobody gives a shit about me. You know what? Whatever. I don't care. Like that feeling, all those toxic feelings that keep coming back, you take a sip and you say, stop. Now, what I do emotionally and what I've been doing, and I did this a few years ago with certain emotions, and now I have a new emotion coming up. And I'm going to repeat this. I repeat this in all my videos. Just because you get sick and you heal, it doesn't mean you're not going to get sick again. I want you to remember that. I have healed a lot of emotions throughout my life, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to get sick again physically. If I have a cold and I heal from the cold, I could get another cold. It's a variation of another virus. It's possible. And I just go through it. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to, go through this cold. That's what it is. So what I do, and I've been physically doing this to myself because I have some makeup on my head. I need the physical movement. So every time I'm sitting there and I'm like, something goes wrong. Like something happens, weird story, but my insurance, there was a glitch in the system, something happened, and there's a problem now with my car insurance. Just giving an example. And I went in, it was a few days ago, and I was like, oh, right away, as soon as I saw my body went into my old addiction of course there's some stupid shit happening. Like I went, stop. I'm not going to feel guilty. And I would usually guilt. I would go, oh my God, Tanya, how could you not check on this last month? This was supposed to be checked on. You're so delayed. Like you're always delaying things. Sometimes you're procrastinating. You should be on this. I would spiral into shaming myself because it's an addiction, because it's connected to love. So I immediately, to get rid of it, is I say, stop. As soon as I see myself starting to feel guilty, I feel it. Stop. Because I know it's an addiction and I see it like this, like, no, put it away. I don't want the shame. Got it. No, I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't want the hangover. I don't want the shame hangover. I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't want the guilt hangover. So I'm like, stop. And then immediately I put my hands. This is my thing that you guys can try this if you want. It really works. It's been working for my clients. Right away, stop. But I don't want to dismiss myself, because if you do, although I think it's a good technique, the Joe Dispenza, I think it's very like, you're not validating yourself. There's that compassion missing right? So I do believe that you can reprogram your mind, but you need compassion. So I do stop. Immediately I put my hands. Stop. It's okay to feel guilty. It's okay to feel not enough. It's okay to feel unlovable. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel uncertain. It's okay to feel the way I'm feeling. Immediate. As soon as I say stop, I validate. I'm literally, and the reason I do this, for me, it works well because I'm like holding my heart, totally validating myself. Because when I was a kid, I didn't get validated. I didn't have that. As parents, it wasn't like it's okay to feel. You're not allowed, oh, what are you, drama? What do you get? Go to your room. You're crying, go to your room. I don't want to see you cry. I don't want to, oh, you're angry. It's always like, it was a problem for me to have emotions. So now I'm like, no. And not, oh, change your thoughts. It's okay. Change your thoughts. Be positive. Everything. No, you're not validating yourself. You have to become your best friend. And your best friend would not tell you, oh, well, you're going to be single forever. Or your best friend wouldn't tell you, well, here it is. You always fuck up. This is your thing. Always things go wrong in your life. Well, this is what, like all the shit that we say to ourselves, most of us, unless we're diagnosed narcissists, most of us are not going to tell our friends. We would never say that. That's messed up. You don't say that to people. There's no compassion. But imagine your friend tells you it's okay to feel. You're allowed to feel that. It's okay to be scared. You're allowed to be scared. Just feel scared. That's it. That's deep. Like you're like, so I'm telling you, when you start doing it to yourself, you feel like shivers. Like I even said it, look, all my hairs went up. I'm just saying it to you guys because I'm looking at myself in the camera. So I'm like repeating it to myself. Every time I say it to myself, I get shivers. I'm like, oh, fuck, I needed that. That's something I need to myself. Okay, it's okay to feel. And here's the key. This is how you change it. As soon as you validate yourself, you change your thought. What new thought would I like to create? Now, the problem with a lot of people that are not able to do this, what they do is the new thought they want to create is, let's say, okay, I'm not good enough, let's say. What's the new thought? I am good enough. You can't do that. You can't create a new thought that you're good enough. You don't even believe that you're good enough. How do you want to create that new thought? You can't do that. So what you have to do is, the way our brain is worked is, now love is connected to shame. Love is connected to guilt. Love is connected to not enough, to unlovable. You have all these love weird connections, when love should just be connected to love. But we somehow trauma connected to other things. So when you say stop, you're like, how Joe Dispenza, neurons that fire together, wire together. So if you are firing and wiring the same emotions over and over, and the same thoughts that are creating the emotions, you keep doing that. So when you say stop, you're like, zzz, it's there, it's connecting. And then you validate, and it's like, it's like comfort, validation. And when you say change, you're now putting, like, you're going to change it. You're going to connect it with a new one. But how do you do that? Is you find something you're grateful for in that moment. Immediately. And I'm not talking about like, I'm grateful for my family. I'm talking specific. And every time you do the stop, validate, change, what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for that my daughter randomly called me today to say, I love you. Just for no reason. She did. Wow, that was very nice. I'm grateful for you guys on the live today being super nice, super loving, great comments. I'm not in any trolls. I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful this week. Like every time you're like, okay, so you're now connecting your not enough feeling with gratitude. I'm going to connect love, because gratitude is love. I'm going to connect love, gratitude, compassion with love. So you're reprogramming your mind to connect love with love, gratitude with gratitude. I'm not joking, guys. I practiced this the first time. I would say it was 2019. 2019, what year is it? All right, it's about 4 years ago. It's the first time that I really, I knew about it, but I didn't fully do this technique. I was just doing stop change. About 2019, I started the stop change, Joe Dispenza, stop change. And I was like, it kept coming back. All my thoughts kept coming back. And I was like, there's something missing. And it was the validation. I knew that I didn't know my value. I didn't know my worth. And how could I be abundant if I don't know my abundant in friendships, abundant in love, abundant in compassion, abundant financially, abundant in any type of thing? How could I be abundant and have value if I don't know my value? Money has value. Friends have, everything has value. How, if I don't know my value, how can I attract that in my life? How can I have that? So I need to validate myself. So love is compassion and gratitude. That is all connected. You don't want love to be love should not be connected with shame. Love should not be connected with not feeling enough. It's like when we're born with love is love, anger is anger, sadness is sadness, compassion, exciting, joyful. Everything is like this when you're born. It's all nicely connected. And then we get older. And now love is connected, shame is connected with compassion. And you're like, shame and compassion. Trust. Is trust a problem with you? Trust is connected with like shaming yourself. So, or what is the word? Feeling hopeless. That is something that I trust, and hopelessness, believe it or not. Because do you trust people that have let you down? Do you trust people that have let you down and made you feel like there's no hope? So trust could be connected with hopelessness. That is a very big one that I forgot to mention. So now trust and hopelessness. No, trust should be connected with trust. Hi, Mary. So just remember that trust and hopelessness could be an addiction. If you're feeling like there's no hope because everybody keeps letting you down, or maybe government's letting you down. Maybe your friends let you down. Everybody always lets you down. Everybody doesn't, it is what it is. So I'm just going to be alone. I'm just going to be in my own. Like those things, a feeling of hopelessness is also an addiction. All these deep, deep feelings that we have that are extreme. The ones that make us triggered, that bring out this like extreme emotion, and some of us internalize it, some of us externalize it. Sometimes you get mad at other people, sometimes you're getting mad at yourself, shaming yourself. All those emotions are addictions because there's an imbalance in our brain. They're not firing and wiring at the proper. They're all like this, like as adults, especially the more trauma you had, which is sucky. Hi, 10. It's like crappy because now you have to like reprogram it. But I'm not joking. That reprogramming could happen in 1 week, even less than a week. But in 1 week, you can notice, like, let's say hopelessness and trust and love and shame and guilt. It's all connected. And in 1 week, you're like, I'm going to do this. Stop, validate, change, gratitude. All of a sudden, they disconnect. Now, it doesn't mean they're reconnected. Doesn't mean they're all like this. And they make reconnect, and then because you're addicted, it'll keep going back. Just like an addiction to, let's say, alcohol. Forever you're going to be a person who's an alcoholic will forever be an alcoholic. Just because they don't have a drink, it doesn't mean that they're not alcoholics. Just like I have an emotional addiction to shame and guilt. Just because I heal it and I bring it back to love, it doesn't mean that it's always going to be connected. There's going to be some twisted thing that I'm still going to feel like that. It's always going to be a little bit of a thing for me. But as Wyla loves when I say, it is not about being perfect. It's about being aware. The things that you went through the things that you went through can either make you or break you. They can either help you become the person you are because of you. It's the things that you went through. It's not because of those people who you are. The trauma, the assholes that you dealt with, the mean people. It's not because of them that you are who you are. No, it's in spite of them. So whatever happened, good or bad, because I know some people that had really great lives, and grew up with depression, anxiety, and they had like so much ease in their life. They were financially stable. They had parents that loved them very much. My grandmother was one of them. She had the most amazing parents They loved her so much. She was very financially stable. She grew up, she had kids. All of us loved her. She was one of the most tormented, never had like financial, which is a big thing, never had problems making friends, just total depression, total anxiety. So people who have trauma could have like this, but also people who don't have that much trauma could have this. They may have just lived one or two traumas. So we cannot judge other people based on their experience. But as adults, and even children, if you see children that are struggling with emotional addictions, and emotional addictions is when you find yourself spiraling into an emotion. And that emotion is always created by a thought. So ask yourself, what are the thoughts that I keep thinking? What emotion is it creating? What am I addicted to? What is the deep feeling beneath that emotion? What am I addicted to? Once I know that that addiction somehow is connected to love, you have to find out how. The trauma loop is an addiction. So a lot of people, I've heard a lot of clients say trauma loop. I've heard that actually this week more than ever. Trauma loop is an addiction. Going on a loop of anything is something that you can't seem to stop, is an addiction. But as an adult, you have the capability of stopping it. And I used to believe that if you're trying to change your thought, it's because, you're trying to not care of yourself. No, because you're validating yourself in this experience. You're not just dismissing your feelings. You're saying it's okay to feel. I'm allowed to feel. And I am not joking, guys. You have to decide on yourself if you're ready to do this or if you're not. If you're not ready and you're like, no, because we don't do anything that doesn't benefit us. That's why everything that is not good for you, it's bringing you some sort of weird satisfaction. That's what it is. If you're drinking alcohol, you like the buzz. Maybe you like the attention you get when you act a certain way. Maybe, I'll give you guys one that I used to have. I used to think that a lot of people forgot about me. I had a face that was like, for some reason, nobody remembered me when I was young. Nobody remembered me. They didn't. They were just like, who are you again? I'm like, I met you 5 times. Do you know how many times I remember that? So, so what was I going to say? So I would get like kind of offended. And then growing up, I started getting bullied really badly. A lot of you guys know I talk about it in my book. I was beaten up, pushed down the stairs. They tried to burn my hair, all this shit. And a lot of people just either didn't like me, didn't pay attention to me, or forgot about me. And I started getting sick. When I was very little, I was sick. Very little. And I noticed that as I got older, every time I was really, really sick, my dad, who used to shame me and be mean to me, was very nice to me. He'd always be really, really nice to me, specifically my dad. So I noticed that when I was sick all the time and just like headaches and everything, that I was craving that attention, that validation. And then I had kidney failure from a baby. I was born with a blood disease that attacks the kidneys. So before my transplant, I was obviously I'm sick. I have a blood disease. I'm getting sick. I'm having all this stuff, whatever. I get the transplant. Now, after the transplant, I'm supposed to be doing better, right? You get a transplant. You're supposed to be kind of stable. No, I'm still very sick. Very, very sick after the medication, the things like that. And I remember the feeling of being addicted to being sick in a twisted way. And I know it's messed up to say this, but there was a correlation to me that when I was sick, I think I was more sick. My brain and my misery made me more sick to get that love and validation from my father, because he was nicer to me. He was never mean to me when I was sick. He would go out and get me stuff. So as I grew up, I started dating. I'm in my 20s. I'm in my 30s, early 30s. And it was actually my late 20s my late 20s is when I started the healing. So in my early 20s and mid 20s, I was meeting people that were exactly like my dad, that were very nice to me when I was sick, because you're not going to be mean, right? To somebody who's like, oh, kidneys, this, that. So it was like, But my kidney, I got a transplant. I was stable. My doctors were like, you're very stable. You're doing well. I changed my whole diet. All this didn't matter. I was still sick. And somehow I correlated it. Because we all need, yes, I was craving the attention, but not just attention. No, it wasn't attention. It wasn't attention I was craving. It was the kindness. I was craving the kindness that I would get from my father. But if you crave attention, that's okay. That's okay. That's just something that you need. So know that it's okay to need something. It's okay to have wants and needs, but we have to learn as adults to give it to ourselves before asking others to give it to us. We have to give it to ourselves. And when I started the healing journey, I was about 26, 27, 28. And I started on this healing journey, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, this whole thing. And I got into it, but I still didn't know about emotional addictions until I watched What the Bleep Do We Know, which, segue. I did my own segue by accident. In my, on my website, there's a free Gaia video. That's What the Bleep Do We Know. So this week I was writing to some clients that are going through stuff, whatever. So I went on Gaia and it says like free video. What the bleep do we know? And I was like, because Gaia randomly gives for like a month a free video. And I was like, oh my God, that's my video. That is my video that I watched. It was about 2007 or 2008. And I sat there watching this video and I had to pause it because I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But here's the problem. Here's the problem of Joe Dispenza. In What the Bleep Do We Know, he explains everything, but he doesn't tell you how to do it. He tells you all the emotional addictions. He brings the science. He shows quantum physics about how it's connected to each other. He shows like neurons that fire together, wire together, but he doesn't tell anybody how to do. He actually talks about that. If you guys go follow him, he's like, I made this video and everybody's like, okay, but how do we fix that? Like, how do we change it? So he came up with his stop change technique. Although it's very important, I think it's a great technique and it's working for a lot of people. For me, the missing component was validation. I definitely needed that inside of it. Stop your emotion and change. Think of a better emotion. I'm like, that's invalidating. It's invalidating my feelings. I'm saying, stop. You're not allowed to feel. Change your feeling. It's like, okay, I got it. And for me, there's that like, I need that. We all need that validation. We all feel like it's okay to feel. It's like, stop, change. It's so like, stop, change. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of like a softness to it. There's this little component, this loving component. I believe that all emotional addictions are connected kind of love and validation. They're all connected to love and validation. Because like fear is the main, there's fear and there's love. Those are the two core. Like if you look at like the whole spectrum, let's say my fingers are all like anger, sadness, overwhelm, anxiety, all this stuff is base of fear. Fear is the root from all these emotions. It's the base of it. Love is the base of excitement, joy, what are other ones? All the good emotions that I'm not thinking about right now. So all of that. So when you're stuck on an emotion is because you're addicted to it. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. If you're stuck on an emotion is because you're addicted to it. Why are you addicted to it? Because it brings you something. It's bringing you something. If you are holding on to something and it doesn't bring you anything, you don't want it. If you are eating something and it brings you some sort, it's a bad thing. It's not good for you, but it brings you satisfaction. Eat a little cupcake. You're like, ooh, this is not good. It's full of sugar. Let's say the worst cupcake, like the worst one you could find, packed with sugar, preservative, all the GMO, whatever it is, all in there, and you're eating it. why are you eating if it's poison? It's because it brings you like there's a satisfaction that it brings you. We don't do things physically or emotionally that do not benefit us. So you have to find out what is benefiting you from this emotional loop, from this emotion that you're stuck on. If it's familiar and comfortable, but you have to go deep when you're doing this type of work and you want to break patterns, you have to go deep to find out why. I don't want stress. Okay, so I've been dealing with some clients, and I actually talked with my daughter. So my daughter has a lot of stress, and she found out through breaking addictions that stress makes her better at school. She realized that when she's stressed, she gets things done a little more. So she was like, oh, I'm like, oh shit. So stress makes her feel valued, makes her feel, what's the word she used? Not valued, makes her feel like empowered. I forgot, not empowered, but there was a word that she used. It makes her feel productive. Stress makes her productive. So she was like, why do you want to feel productive? Because when I'm productive, I feel like I'm enough. You don't feel like you're good enough. We went deep. You go deeper and deeper and deeper, guys. Like the deeper you go and you start like an onion, you're peeling or you're chipping at this, like in the middle, there's a diamond in the middle of something, like a little crystal that you want to find in the middle of a rock. You need to chip at it. And what is that crystal? That crystal, when you find out what it is, it can set you free. You can be like, oh my God. The reason it's important to find out what that crystal is, because some people are like, I'm just going to break the addiction. You could do that. You don't have to find out, but the addiction might come back because you don't really know what it is and why it's there. You're like, what is this connected to? I don't know. I'm just going to do it. It helps with accomplishments. Motivate. Yeah, it's a motivator. We try to get rid of bad feelings, like uncomfortable feelings, negative, stress, anxiety. We all try to get rid of the stuff, but we all feel it. All of us. Animals feel stress and anxiety. I can see it. My dog, he's part Chihuahua. And when we're somewhere he's uncomfortable, his little body's like shaking. He's a little Chihuahua fear. Everybody has this stress, and it's okay. Like I said, it's like, picture this as your addiction. This is your addiction. It's full. If you, alcohol, take one sip, you're good. 2, 3 sips, it's not that bad. It's not, if you're not addicted to it, you put it down. If you're addicted, you want the whole glass. You want another glass, another glass, another glass. Now picture this filled with stress. It's okay to be stressed a little. A little anxiety. It gets you productive, right? Little anxiety. It's okay. This is an anxiety. So picture it with anxiety on here. Take a sip. Okay. Take another sip. It's okay to feel anxiety. But if you start drinking the whole anxiety and then trying to chug down a bottle of anxiety, you're going to have a bad hangover. Bad. Physically, you're going to feel like shit after having full anxiety. So you can decide to put it down. You take a little bit of sip right away. Stop. Put it down. Stop your brain. It's going, anxiety. It's connected to love. It's connected to accomplishment. It's connected because when you're accomplished, you feel like you're more lovable. You feel like you're more valued because stop. Validate. It's okay to feel stressed. I'm allowed to feel stressed. It's okay to feel this way. Change. What is the new thought I want to create? What can I feel grateful for? What do I feel grateful for? I feel grateful for running water. I have warm showers. I could take hot showers. I have a roof over my head and it's snowstorm outside. And I get to be in a warm house. I have my dog, my cat. I get to cut, like, I am training now my brain that stress, but you have to do the validation. Well, anxiety can make you productive. Anxiety is important. Sadness is important. Anger is important. Over anxious, over sadness, depression, anxiety disorder, panic attacks. That's when there's the addiction. When it's too much of something. we all know that it's in moderation. Everybody says, well, as long as it's in moderation. Whatever is not in moderation is an addiction. There is a benefit somewhere. That's why a lot of people are addicted to social media, addicted to going online. Fuck, there's a lot of benefits online. You turn on and you're going through some shit and you scroll on Tanya and she's telling you how to break emotional. Trying to promote myself here. No, I'm just giving an example. Like, I'm feeling some kind of way yesterday. I was looking on and I'm scrolling and then I find like women empowerment making me feel, I'm like, oh yeah, women empowerment. I feel, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all these good vibes, all these things. So I'm like, there's the validation. So whatever we're addicted to brings us some sort of love or validation. I used to have debilitating anxiety. Sleep-guided meditation switched it off. That's amazing, Wonder. A few hours ago, the anxiety was intense. I feel like now I've had it. You have, see, La Luna, that is the feeling you need. When you, and this, okay, La Luna, I'm going to focus on your comment because this is the crazy part. When you say to yourself, I've had enough, the fucking universe fucking brings shit to you. I'm telling you, it responds to us in some you don't have to be all healed and it fucking answers us. Do you know that I felt like 2 weeks ago, I've been practicing the stop, validate, change. Stop, validate, change. I've been practicing it for 4 years. I have videos about it on YouTube all over the place. But all of a sudden, something came up recently and I've been addicted to shame and guilt, which I didn't realize I was. A new one came up. It was a new feeling. It's okay. We're human. I'm not ashamed. Like, I'm all healed and no, fuck that. We're all whatever. So I open it up. I'm like, oh, I start looking. I'm on YouTube. And I was like, I am sick of feeling like shit all the time. Every time. I'm telling you guys, this is my pattern. I will tell you. My dog died. At the same time that my dog died, Amazon was not paying me. They owed me a lot of money from my book, my 2 books, by the way. I published another book and they still didn't pay me for my first book. June, July, August, okay? So all of this. And then I start getting problems with my car. My car's not working. And there's things I can tell you. I'm not specifically going through court, but my dad is going through the court systems, hired a lawyer, and I'm supporting him. I'm there. I have to go to court against, I can't even tell you. You guys, when I can finally tell you this, I can't wait to tell you because I can't say it. The top things that you can, I can't believe we're going to court with things like this. Anyways, it's like, the lawyers were like, we don't know if there's a case, but I'm like, there is a case, but it was like crazy shit. And it's all happening at once. My go-to was, well, Tanya, because you're not doing things right in your life, this is what's happening. It's all at once. You created this. You manifested. How did you manifest this? The stupid shit spiraling in my head. And then I'm like, no. I'm sick of it. Like La Luna, I was like, I'm done. Why do I feel like this all the time? When shit happens, I shame myself. I blame myself. Why do I do this? And then Joe Dispenza shows up, I'm on Gaia. I didn't even see this. He shows up on a podcast and he says, you're not addicted. You're not addicted to feeling bad. Like feeling bad after you eat a lot of food. You're not addicted to all that. You're addicted to the guilt. You're addicted to the shame. I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. I made a video. Video went viral. Because a lot of you guys know. You guys are like me. You guys are like, oh, and people were like, oh shit. As soon as I hit the video, like within a few days, it was spiked because everybody is like, oh shit. You're addicted to the guilt and shame. So I was like, oh my God. I didn't even realize it was an addiction. But I was excited because I have the tools. Every time an emotional addiction comes up, I made videos about it. I know what to do. So I was excited. I was like, oh my God, this is like, I'm going to pierce through another layer of my life. Like, this is exciting. This has been blocking me. So I did exactly of my videos on YouTube. Stop, validate, change. Guys, why is it that I posted that video 1 week ago, a little over a week ago, week and a half ago, and all of a sudden, Amazon pays me? Months they haven't paid. I get the payments. I contact Amazon KDP, nicest girl I have ever met, nicest girl. I was like, she's like, hey, oh my God, and validated me. She goes, how are you not yelling at us? How are you not If I were you, I would be losing my shit. She goes, this is a lot of money. You're not getting paid. You're being so nice. And I was like, well, you can't get anywhere with screaming at people or getting mad. She's like, yeah, validating. I was like bombarded with validation. And then what else happened? Hold on. Something else. I can't tell you, but other things happen. I can't go in detail, but everything is 1 week, 1 fucking week that I'm doing the stop change about this. And everything's like, and I was like, oh my God. And then I started feeling guilty. I was thinking about my dog. I have been crying. There's crying because you're mourning. You know, when someone dies, you mourn. There's mourning crying. And then there's guilt crying. I was mixing mourning and guilt. To me, that was love, because guilt is love. So I was guilting myself, like, you could have been a better dog mom. All the times when you were like, because I had my dog, my dog showed up before I was healed. My dog showed up when I wasn't doing so well. I could have been better. So I was like, oh, I wasn't a good mom. And then now I'm mourning more, because now I'm like, he could have had a better life. Oh, I should have been like fucking mean to myself. So mean to myself. And I went like, figuratively, yeah, well, I didn't physically hurt my dog, but it was just like, I felt like I could have hugged him more. I could have, you know what I mean? I was like shaming myself for all the shit. Like, and then as a mom, guys, JJ, exactly. And then I made a video about 3 weeks ago that went super viral, millions viral, okay? I think it's a million. I think a million something. And people were like, oh my God, I relate. You know what the video's about? Feeling guilty, crying, apologizing to my daughter for all the shit that I may have caused her. And you know why I went viral? Because everybody else felt guilty. They're like, oh my God, I feel this. Oh my God. And I'm going, all of us are so stuck on guilt and shame. But what does that do? If I feel guilty, again, I'm going to put this is guilt, okay? Guilt of not being a better mom. I take a sip. I need to take a sip of guilt. I think sometimes taking a sip of guilt means like, you know what? I'm going to apologize to my daughter. I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to apologize to her. Take a little sip. I'm going to take accountability, responsibility. I have to feel a little sip of guilt, because it makes me compassionate towards her, that if I don't take anything, I'm just like, whatever. So I think it's okay to have anxiety. A little anxiety makes me productive. A little bit of sadness releases the pain in me. A little bit of anger makes me feel a little powerful. A lot of anger makes me feel out of control. A lot of sadness makes me feel depressed. A lot of anxiety causes me anxiety attacks. A lot of guilt, like the video, causes me to feel depressed. Causes me to feel like I am just shameful. I'm not, I don't even know the real feeling. I don't even know. That's another thing I should look at. So whatever, addicted. So I made the video and everybody's like, so whatever you're addicted to, try the stop, validate, change. Again, I have it on my YouTube, the video. I am going to make more videos about this. I am going to post this if I can, as much as I can. I'm going to post, 11. I'm going to post this on YouTube, but it is like a huge revelation for me. And there's one thing also that I realized, that some people are also addicted to jealousy. They have an emotional addiction to jealousy. And it was very strange. I thought about that. It's like a feeling, the feeling of jealousy is like feeling a person succeeding in something makes them feel like they're not good enough. If somebody else is succeeding and doing better than you, and then you feel like shit, the feeling is that you feel like shit. That's the feeling. You feel like their success somehow is correlated with you. Like, well, then you'll feel that. You'll feel, I'm not good enough, or I'm not, I can't be successful because that person's successful. There's still a feeling of not feeling good enough. And what's sad is that some people will take it out on the other person. So when you own your feeling and you do the stop, validate, change, and you do those feelings and you work with that, it could change everything. And so I talked to my fiance right before I went live, and I asked him if I could tell the story, because I'm usually not allowed to talk too much about his stories, but he said yes. So my fiance, something happened at work, and it was, I believe it was a racial thing, that my fiance did not get equal with one of his best friends. There was an inequality in the work. Okay, I'm not going to go super into detail, just to know. So this happened a few weeks ago, and my boyfriend started noticing, my fiance started noticing that he was angry at this person, and he started, like, they would hang out, they're friends, so they would hang out outside, and he was like resentful, and he was being a little bit like weird with them. And I told him, I'm like, this is really attractive, babe. This was the most attractive thing, one of the most attractive thing he's ever done. I told him, I was like, this is like, he says to me one day, he calls me, he's like, I talked to my friend and I told him, because his friend didn't know about the inequality. So he goes, I talked to my friend and I told him that I was being jealous of him. And that's why, because had nothing to do with him. It wasn't his fault. It was not his fault. It was the corporation thing's fault, but it wasn't his fault. So he just talked to him. He's like, listen, I've been jealous. And therefore I've been passive aggressive. Like what did he call it? Not shaming. What's the word he uses? Like, he gives him a little, jokey undercuts, and you're like, and he's been kind of distant from him, and he's like, yeah, whatever. He doesn't want to really hang out with him, doesn't want to, and he's like, I've been feeling, he goes, it's not your fault, it's totally me, and I don't want to feel like that anymore, so I'm telling you. Jabs, that's what I was looking for, little jabs. And he's like, oh, so I'm telling you. Do you know that telling him that and owning his shit, how to own your shit? And he read my book, and I was like, you read my book, babe, you read my book. But he's like, so he calls me and he's like, hey, I told him. I go, what? He goes, yeah, we had lunch, and I had to tell him. I had to tell him, like, listen, there's a jealousy there, and it has nothing to do with you. It's just my feeling. And I was like, I have to tell you, when people own their shit, I'm like, oh my God, that's so attractive. You totally own your shit. He's like, yeah. And he's like, like when you're feeling something towards someone, and he's like, I was self-projecting my shit on him. Like, it was not about him. It was my deep feeling. And he went like, this looks good on you. Yeah, I like this look on you, the owning your shit. And he was like, and all of a sudden now they hung out together, and it was great. And it was like, it's like, he's like, I feel better at work. It's okay. Like, things are, and I'm like, that's amazing. This is amazing. And I'm like, owning the deep feeling that we're feeling made him have a better relationship with one of his best friends, and made him have a better relationship with me, because I was hearing him addicted to these jealous emotions, and he was getting into the addiction. But my partner is not addicted to jealousy. So he was like uncomfortable in it. Like, he was feeling it, and he was like, oh, I don't like this feeling. What am I feeling? But he acknowledged it. So again, it's not about being perfect. It's about being aware. He didn't fix it. There's still inequality. There's still some shit going down. But there's no more shitty feelings, because he acknowledged it, he owned it, and he addressed it with the person. And yes, it does. It does. It does. I agree. What do you mean about stop, validate, change? Well, I said it about 3, 4, 5 times on my video, but let's say it again, because I've been saying it with my clients all week, and it's been working. The more you say it, the more you do it. You spiral. Okay. So again, you're sitting. What is happening in your life that's driving you nuts? Who is driving you nuts? Take the situation and think about it. Think about what's bothering you. Okay, that feeling. Take that feeling, imagine it, picture the scenario of the people or whatever's going on, or financial, whatever in your life, whatever's going on with you, could be with you. Think about it. Now, think about what are you saying out loud. Say it out loud to yourself. I'm always going to be alone. Nobody likes me. Nobody even cares about me. People are fake. People try to care about me, but they don't really. I'm so stupid. I can't keep a job. I'm so dumb. I should have been a better parent. All that, say it out loud. Okay, say whatever you're feeling that's on your mind, the spiral one, say it out loud. Now what is it making you feel? So as soon as you say it, what is it making you feel? Now you state the feeling. This making me feel like I'm not good enough. Being single for so long makes me feel unlovable. But you have to peel like onion layers. You have to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Makes me feel like what? And then makes me feel guilt. Why does it make me feel guilty? Da, da, da. But in the end, the base feeling of what you're feeling, that emotion is the addiction. Once you label that addiction, guilt, shame, not enough, at fault, whatever it is, that's the addiction. Now you have to figure out, this is deep, I'm telling you, it's some deep work. Once you figure out the addiction, you have to correlate it with love or validation. Does that feeling bring you love or validation in some areas of your life? If you're not good enough, does it feel, when you feel like you're not good enough, did somebody in your life make you feel not good enough, but they loved you? Who was that? Who in your life made you feel that you were not good enough, but they also loved you? So love, not good enough. That totally intertwined. That's the addiction. So most of the time it's our mom, our dad, our parents, our caregivers. It could be even doctors, nurses. If a doctor is continuously telling you, you trust a doctor and they're continuously telling you like messed up shit. If you're following someone, like it could even be a celebrity, believe it or not, you could be online and totally trust a celebrity, and a celebrity completely like, crushes your whole image of something, and you put them on a pedestal. What did they make you feel? So you love them and they made you feel what? That is the addiction. That's the addiction. The addiction correlated with love. It could be anybody in your life. So once you know how it's correlated with love, you say stop. As soon as you see, and by the way, guys, this is a common thing that humans do. When you go into your thoughts, you do this. Stop. Bring your head back. Bring your head back right now. Do it now. Some of you guys, if I tell you, think about what made you think about, and you'll go, no, bring that back. Stop. Validate. Change your thought. Think of something you're grateful for. Stop immediately. Don't. Now, if you're so addicted to an emotion, okay, I'm going to go a little deeper, which I did with someone. I'm going to go really, really deep. Now, if you're addicted to something, you may be crying a little more. If you're addicted to something, so addicted, I'm going to give an example of alcohol. When you are addicted to alcohol, it is so much so many years of addiction, it has become a part of you. You have alcohol in your blood that if you stop drinking, you're going to go and you need to go to like rehab, and you're going to go through a shock for 3-4 days. Francesco, you're going to go through a shock. Think about that. Did you know, side note, that during COVID, withdrawal, thank you, I was looking for the word, thank you, Willa. Did you know that through COVID, the reason why they kept the SAQs open is because people were so addicted, the people who are so addicted to alcohol, if they would have stopped drinking, they would be in withdrawal and go to the hospitals that were overpopulated, and they didn't want that. So they kept, I'm sure there was other reasons, but that was one of the reasons. Because my father went to rehab But my father had a different type of addiction. He didn't have it like drinking every day, all day. But there are people that drink every day, all day. They are living that, and the blood has become a part of them. And they are now, it is a part of them. It is factual. So the people on here who are saying, well, I can't get rid of my anxiety. It's a part of me. Yeah, because you're so addicted. It's like the alcohol that it's like the poison has now become one with your body. You can stop the excessive toxic feelings, but you need to go through, like, you need to be ready. You need to acknowledge that you have a problem, that you have an addiction. You're like, this is an addiction. I'm ready to stop it. If you're not ready to stop it, you won't stop it. You can't do stop, validate, change if you don't want to stop it. You can't do it because you're going to keep taking your drinks. You're going to keep taking your drinks of not enough, of guilt, of shame. So you need to take this drink. You take a sip, stop, put it down. You have to be ready. And if it's become a part of you, it's going to be hard for the first 3 days. Think of it like a detox. When you go to rehab and you're just, what's the word again? Withdrawal. When you're going through withdrawal through drugs or alcohol, you're going to feel the shakes. You're going to feel sick. So during the time that you are totally connected to the addiction, the emotional addiction that you're feeling, you're going to cry. You're going to feel physical pain. You're going to feel sadness. So you may want, if that is the level of addiction that you're at, you're going to want to take it. Start this on the weekend. Spiral, do your thing. Start it on a day that you have some time off and you need some time alone to cry, get angry, feel those let them out. You're not going to feel good doing this. And you probably may even now not even believe me. Because people who, I'm sure a lot of us know people who are alcoholics who deny. I know a few actually who are, I know an alcoholic that is denying that they're an alcoholic. They think, no, it's just taking the ease off every single day, a lot of the times. Like they don't want to admit it, so they're not ready. That's okay. It is not their journey. Then there's other people who can admit they're an alcoholic, but they think that this is the way. I'm an alcoholic, it's fine. It's just who I am. It's me. So saying I have anxiety, it's just who I am, it's me. If you're okay with it, then you're okay with it. I did not see your text. No, I didn't. No, it didn't appear. I didn't see what you wrote. There's a lot. And the people who are in denial, we cannot change the denial. We can't, no matter how much you can send them this video, they won't believe me. They're going to be like, that's not me though. That's not me. When you feel like that's not, it's all of us. All humans have addictions. We all have it. Continuous addictions, physical addictions, emotional addictions, and even the physical addictions are correlated with emotional addictions. It's all mixed together. It's not just like, stop the alcohol, replace it with water. No problem. Easy. Water, alcohol. Here, take water. Oh yeah, that's fulfilling my needs. No, there's a deep-rooted feeling of why you need the alcohol. What are you numbing? What are you trying to feel? And alcoholics are trying to feel the love and the validation, or they're trying to block things out. It's the same with emotional addictions. Oh, congratulations with the healing. Why do we have these addictions to struggle? That is a good question. Wow. Let's think about this together. What do you guys think? I don't know. Let's think about, let's brainstorm together. Why do we have these addictions? Coping mechanisms. I like that. Nicole. Because we want to escape from something. Attention to avoid. Addictions. Oh, I like that. Coping and to avoid. It is trauma, but what she was asking is why? Why do we have that trauma? Because trauma is what creates a lot of the addictions. To avoid. Mark, you hit, to me, that resonates with me. Coping to avoid. Like, put those two together. Think about this. If I'm drinking a whole thing of water, a whole thing of alcohol, it's I want to avoid something. I don't want to feel something. If I am feeling, oh, this is good, let's go deep. I want to go deeper now. This I feel is healing for me too. If I want to avoid, what do I want to avoid? If I am feeling the shame, I'm addicted to shame and guilt. What am I trying to avoid? I know what I'm trying to avoid. So I'm trying to avoid the fact that my dad sometimes is really not a nice person. And the reason I went all the way there is because I went very deep in my head very fast. I went like this. I peeled all the layers. Instead of peeling the layers of the onion, I just sliced through the onion. I'm like, this is the reason. For me, I know because I've been working on this a lot. So to me, it was, I'll show you how I got there, okay? In a slow way, not as fast as I did. So I'm addicted to guilt and shame because my dad used to guilt and shame me, but he also loved me. So he would shame me, but then he would show me a lot of love after. Shame me, show me love. So I shame myself because that's love. I'm working on loving myself. So love and shame go together. I get addicted to the shame because it's correlated with love. So what am I trying to avoid when I'm doing the shame? I'm acting like my father. I'm trying to avoid that feeling that what my dad, how he treated me was not okay. It's still not okay when he does it. And I'm trying to avoid that because now my father is living with memory loss. I'm living with him now. And my partner and I decided that his mother is a lot even older than my father. And we live right across the street, like super close to each other, but he's living with his mom, taking care of his mom. I'm with my dad. And this is the life. This is my journey. I'm accepting it. But I'm trying to avoid it. And I think that's why I go into it. So thank you, Mark. And who said avoid again? The avoiding so thank you guys that was deeper. I like finding out the whys. They're always good to find out. Yes, which creates dopamine. Exactly. But that's the addiction. Addiction pushes that out. And it's crazy because people are like, no, if I'm addicted the dopamine, I wouldn't be addicted to, why would I be addicted to not feeling good enough? Why am I feeling addicted to not loving? I'm feeling unlovable. Because some odd reason there's a dopamine hit in a weird way. Taking care of your mom, the root of your problems. You want to know the whys? I know. People have gone through some fucked up things in their life, and there's two choices. You always have two choices. What do you want to feel with it? You can go through, and I talk about this actually in my book, and I talk about a story of a friend of a family that was a kid. I'm not going to tell the details of the story because it's brutal, and it was a very young child who got stolen by his another side of the family, and they found the child many years later in a cage in the basement, was like half their size. It was just like the worst story. I'm not even going to go too much in detail about it. It was a really bad story. And this kid has lived a lot of his life in a cage in a basement. I've seen this kid. And he's one of the most kindest, gentle, because you can go two ways. You always have two ways to go. You can take the healing route, the self-reflection, introspection, or you could become completely toxic and say, well, this is my life. This is just what it is. I had this life and I am totally broken. And the same happened with me. If you guys don't even know, I haven't even shared, I'm still not comfortable sharing most of the stuff that I went through. But for most of my life, I was in hospitals, sick. I've almost died. I had no money. I was in debt. I had a daughter and I'm a single mom going through surgery after surgery. My health isn't getting better. Nothing's getting better. I'm getting screwed over. Other things are happening. All this stuff. I could have really sat here on a live and complained and said, listen, guys, I'm going to tell you all my horrors. And this is why I'm the way I am and I'm really bad. Or I could go this way and go, well, this is why I am the way I am. And I chose this way. I chose the way of like, I'm going to do it for myself. And I made that choice in my late 20s. And I said, I am sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. I want to find a way to change my emotions to feel good, because we all know where we're going. It's guaranteed. All of us have a time where our physical bodies don't work anymore. Emotional bodies, that's a whole other story. Spirituality, we're not talking about spirituality today, although it's one of my favorite subjects. But our energy in our body is not there anymore. Our physical body's gone. It happens to all of us. We don't know when. It's a surprise for all of us. Some people have dates and stuff, but it's still kind of a surprise. But we all know it's going to happen. The time we have here, we can choose to, we have an experience. It's fucked up. Some of us live fucked up experiences. But after the experience, because it's okay to feel fucked up while you're living it. If you're living a fucked up thing, it's okay to be fucked up. Do you know what I mean? Be kind to yourself. But after that thing, when it happened, and it's just there, what do you choose? The emotion that you say stuck on is because that is bringing you love somehow, or validation. Can we talk about your second book? Oh, the second book is just a journal. Here, I'm going to show you guys. I have it here. Hold on. It's holding up my laptop. Hold on. Here, I'll show you guys my book. This is How to Own Your Shit, with a little cat hair. How to Own Your Shit, Mastering Self-Projection. I found out today this is available everywhere. I did not know. I went today and it's not just Barnes & Noble's, Chapters Indigo, Amazon, of course, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Chapters Indigo, Goodreads, eBay. I don't know. There's a whole bunch. I just went online today and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know that a bunch of companies like bought it, put it on. So I was like, all right, I'm happy. And yeah, and it's kind of going up and down in the bestsellers. Like it's going higher up, then it's going back down. It's going, some days it's like closer to the bestsellers, like goes down. So it's doing pretty good. I think some people, I'm hoping that you guys like it. If you did get it and you did read it, let me know. On Amazon, you can give a review. Now this 21 Days of Self-Healing is the Stop, Validate, Change, believe it or not. Maybe I should do this one for my guilt and shame, because I did it. Like I said, this is what I did 4 years ago that changed my life. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys the stop, validate, change. Okay. There you go. So there's unfiltered thoughts. This is a section. Okay. There's a section where you write unfiltered thoughts. Then you do self-validation. I matter. My feelings matter. It's okay to feel. New thoughts I want to create. Write down the good feeling thoughts, things that you're grateful for. And it's 21 days. So you do this. This is the reprogramming your mind. You're halfway through the journal. I want to write a book. I struggle putting everything in order. Oh, I get that. It took me a while to put everything in order. I totally understand. How to make choices not based on addiction. It's okay to make choices based on addiction. Don't shame yourself. It's okay to make choices based on addiction. It happens sometimes. We all do it. So this book is called, so just work with your addictions and you're going to do it. It's going to happen. And then you'll notice when it's an addiction-based decision and when it's a regular yourself-based addiction. You'll start noticing the difference. But don't judge yourself if you do. It's just a process that you're going through. So this one is self-projection, mastering self-projection. It is what I see in the world is a reflection of me. So all the feelings that we're feeling, all our trauma and shit, we project it. We see the world with that lens. If I look outside and I see a snowstorm, I have two choices. It's like the two choices. Oh, great. I can make a snowman. Oh, shit. I got to go to work in the snow. I may have in a car accident. Like, what are the things? So we see people like that. And I go in detail. We start seeing people with our perceptions. So sometimes there could be a person that actually is kind of nice And you may think they're really not nice, but there's something about you. Do you feel not nice? Did somebody tell you in your life that you were not nice and it was bad? Is it okay? Sometimes you're not nice. That's okay. So it's like very detailed, and it's also a workbook. So I'll just show you quick the chapters before I let you guys go. So it's a book about everything, boundaries, everything. I talk about self-projection, becoming self-aware. You know how I just went to peel the onion there? That's what it does. You start peeling the onion. I have a whole chapter on how to peel the onion in your brain. Self-projecting, blah, blah, blah. A lot of okay. How do we, can we stop self-projecting? That's the question. The mind and how it's flawed. I talk about the subconscious, what happens in the shadow. There's a whole chapter if you want to do shadow work, whole chapter on shadow work. Physical triggers, emotional triggers, very explosive anger, implosive anger, how to deal with that. Boundaries, how to set healthy boundaries. It's one of my favorite chapters. Did you attract the bad guy that you, or the bad partner that you got, or did you, or maybe you didn't attract it? What is that? Maybe there's a projection, all that stuff. And then I have a whole chapter on reprogramming your mind. Stop, validate, change. It's also in my book. I wanted to do this live too today, and I made the video to show you that we're all on this journey together. Even though I wrote a book, I'm still on the journey. This book is for you, but it's also for me. I look at it sometimes. Sometimes I own, like somebody criticized me like a few months back, super mean, super mean. I was crying and crying, and I was like, oh, fuck. How to not own somebody's projection. I was like, I need my book. I need to know, what did I write? I was too emotional. That's the first one. Okay. Yes, we unconsciously, yeah, but you could become conscious. When you get the book, I show you how to consciously, so you can go, oh shit, I was projecting. Oh shit. And it's okay. It's okay if you project. And there's 4 types of projections that I go in detail. That's the first one. This one is just a journal, and it's nighttime, a bedside journal. So you do it for about 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. Sometimes people take 10 minutes if you want to go in deeper. It's just, and for those of you who got the journal, you could go review it too. I only have 1 review on, I sold a lot of these, but it says 1 review. And I was like, I know I'm not good at remembering reviews anyways. I always have to have Amazon pops up. Would you like to review? So that's this book, Self-Healing. Here, you guys can get a look at it. It's like, and I always have affirmations, believe in yourself, my feelings matter. And then there's an emotional wheel, fear, anger, sadness, happiness, surprise, like what are you feeling physically? It's just super validating book. That's what but it's a journal. I don't really promote this one because this one's just like, if you're in the mood and you want to do some healing, like there's a lot of good journals on Amazon, not just this one. I've done some really good ones. And thank you. I appreciate that. It looks nice. I worked on it. This one was a hard one to write. But all right, so that's it. And if you're on YouTube watching this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope this works so I can upload it. Okay, I love you guys. Oh yes, thank you, Cece. She's helping promote a great holiday gift for your loved ones or for people you don't like. How to own your shit. Super passive aggressive. They open the gift. How to own your shit. What the? All right. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you. And I will see you next Tuesday. Love you. Bye.